From Kern Government Television, welcome to this week's Kern County Board of Supervisors meeting, originating from the County Administrative Center located at 1115 Truxtun Avenue, Bakersfield, California. Kern County's vision is to create and maintain a customer-centered county government designed to garner the confidence, support, and trust of the people we serve. Today's Kern County Board of Supervisors meeting will convene momentarily.
Board to reconvene. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Supervisor Gleason.
Here.
Supervisor Scrivener.
Here.
Supervisor Maggard.
Here.
Supervisor Couch.
Here.
Supervisor Perez.
Thank you. Good morning and welcome to the Tuesday, November 7th, 2017 meeting of the Kern County Board of Supervisors. We're going to begin today's meeting with our flag salute, and that will be led by Staff Sergeant Edward Rodriguez. And if you could all please remain standing for a moment of prayer, silence, or meditation.
Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please be seated. If you'd like to follow along with our agenda this morning, the agendas are located at the tables near the exits, and we're going to begin today with our consent agenda. All items listed with a CA above the item are considered to be routine and non-controversial by county staff. Consent items will be considered first and may be approved by one motion. If a member of the audience wishes to comment or ask questions regarding an item or items on the consent agenda, they may do so prior to a vote being taken on the consent agenda. A member of the board may remove any item from the consent agenda, and it will be considered in listed sequence with an opportunity for any member of the public to address the board concerning the item before action is taken. So at this time, I will read the consent agenda items. Starting on page 2, items 1 through 3, as well as 9 and 10 are on consent. On page 3, items 13 through 18 are all on consent. On page 4, all items 19 through 24 are on consent. Page 5, all items 25 through 31 are on consent. On page 6, item 32, as well as 34 through 38 are on consent. On page 7, item 39, item 41, and item 43 are on consent. Are there any members of the audience who would like to speak to the consent agenda? Any questions or comments? Okay, seeing none, I'll return to the board and ask if any board members would like to remove an item, or I would request a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Moved. Second.
You have a motion and a second. Please cast your votes.
The motion is approved. 4 ayes, 1 absent. Supervisor Perez.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. And now we'll return to page 2 on our agenda, starting with item number 4. This is to proclaim November as Alzheimer's Awareness and Caregivers Appreciation Month in Kern County, and Supervisor Couch will make this presentation.
Motion on the proclamation. Second.
Please cast your votes.
The motion is approved. 4 ayes, 1 absent. Supervisor Perez.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, thank you for the opportunity to do this. If your family has been impacted by Alzheimer's, you know how important what these people do every day is. And so it's an honor for me to read this proclamation and hand it over to Kate Usey and allow her to say a few words or pass this off to whoever she would like to. The proclamation reads, the Board of Supervisors of the County of Kern, State of California has officially proclaimed November 2017 as National Alzheimer's Awareness Month and Caregivers Appreciation Month in Kern County, and this recognition has been entered into the official board minutes signed by our Honorable Chairman, Zach Scrivener, dated today, November 7th, 2017. And again, on a personal note, I'm acutely aware of what this disease can do to not only a person, but also the family. And what these people do for the families and for those people is pretty amazing. If you get a chance to go see what they do, you need to go do that. Thank you very much. Kate? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I know that I come here a lot and you kind of get tired of hearing my voice. So first of all, I'd like to thank each and every one of you for this proclamation, and I'd like to introduce to you some of my management staff that was here and also one of my board members. Our accounting department is Kristen, one of my board members, Sonia. Julie is our community outreach and educator. Kim is our program manager who has oversight of the day services center and all the clients and the employees that are there, the very loving, giving staff. And the National Alzheimer's, actually the Alzheimer's Foundation of America, once a year recognizes someone as the Dementia Care Specialist of the Year throughout the whole United States. I'm proud to say that Patty Flores, our family services, was nominated this year and actually received the award. So ADAKC is very proud, and I hope our community is proud to know that out of everyone in the United States, that Patty is the Dementia Care Specialist of the Year. I'll let Patty say a few words about ADAKC.
Thank you. Good morning. We are extremely grateful to you for proclaiming November as Alzheimer's Awareness Month in Kern County. Not only will this coincide with our late President Ronald Reagan 1983 proclamation declaring November as National Alzheimer's Awareness Month, but more importantly, you are helping us to raise awareness concerning the impact of Alzheimer's and dementia in our community. More than 11,000 people in Kern County suffer from Alzheimer's and other types of dementias. That does not include the army of more than 20,000 individuals who are tasked with caring for their loved ones 24 hours, 7 days a week. Alzheimer's is one of the most devastating of the dementia-related diseases. A person with Alzheimer's disease is destined to slip into a world that is different from what most of us consider normal. Those who care for them, most frequently spouses and children, are equally destined to live in an alternative universe where eventually their loved ones no longer recognize them. Moreover, these caregivers often neglect their own health. Tragically, statistics show that without help, the caregiver often passes before their loved one with the disease. Thankfully, there is help for our local families facing the challenges of Alzheimer's and other dementias. ADAKC's mission is to improve the lives of Kern County residents affected by Alzheimer's disease and related disorders. Our focus is on improving education, support, resources, and other local families on the Alzheimer's journey. Our day service program provides a social and cognitive stimulation and socialization for the persons diagnosed, while their caregivers get a much-needed break from the extreme exhaustion of caregiving. With me today are members of ADAKC Board of Directors, staff, volunteers, advocates, and community partners. Each of these folks' generosity gives of their time and talent in various ways. We are thankful for their love and support that ensures that each family on the Alzheimer's journey has access to essential resources, not just for the individuals with Alzheimer's, but also for their well-being of the caregivers. Together we stand today united to recognize the ongoing need and support of education and encourage our 20,000 plus Kern County citizens caring for their loved ones with Alzheimer's and other dementias. We stand to recognize the individuals living with the insidious disease and to honor those who have lost their battle. We stand in appreciation for the caregivers and families who endure the stress and the extreme exhaustion of caregiving to allow their loved ones dignity to remain in their homes rather than facing placement in a long-term care facility. Today and throughout the month of November, we invite you to join us in honoring these unsung heroes here in Kern County, and to be reminded that even when the mind begins to forget, the heart never forgets. We proudly serve Kern County residents. Thank you.
Let me get it out of there too. Take one.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Great job. Next item on our agenda is item number 5. This is to proclaim November and December 2017 as Kern County Cares Canned Food Drive months in Kern County. And Supervisor Maggard is going to make this presentation. He is also going to present item 6, which is to proclaim November 2017 as National Adoption Awareness Month in Kern County. And so I'll ask for a motion to approve both items 5 and 6.
So moved. Thank you.
Second.
Please cast your votes.
The motion is approved, 4 ayes, 1 absent. Supervisor Perez.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Hey, guys. How are you? How you doing? Nice to see you. See you. Hi. How are you? Good morning, colleagues. I stand before you this morning to help us proclaim November and December 2017 as Kern County Cares Canned Food Month Drive in Kern County. The Gleaners' mission is to help alleviate hunger, and it provides food to approximately 18,000 people per month here in Kern County. The generosity of Kern County employees is critical to performing and accomplishing that task. Kern County Gleaners has requested the help of Kern County, our employees, in its annual drive to collect non-perishable food and funds for distribution to the county's needy children and their families. Last year, 25 departments in the county combined to raise over $28,000 and another almost 69,000 pounds of food. And we are hoping that our employees will join us again this year. Our goal is to raise 70,000 pounds of food, and our employees can contribute the non-perishable food or money items. Gleaners needs cash and food to both of them to be able to effectively meet these needs. So, on behalf of the Board of Supervisors, we proclaim November and December 2017 as Kern County Cares Canned Food Month drive here in Kern County. And I'm joined by Dina Murphy, our Director of Human Services. Could I give you this? The Board of Supervisors of the County of Kern, State of California, has officially proclaimed November and December 2017 as Kern County Cares Canned Food Drive months in Kern County. That's hard to say fast, 3 times. And this recognition has been entered into our minutes, evidenced by the signature of our Chairman, the Honorable Zach Scrivener. Can you give us a little bit more information about it? And I want to thank our employees in advance, not only for what they have done, but what they're about to do again. We very much value their participation.
Thank you, Supervisor Maggard, Chairman Scrivener, and members of the board. I'm joined by Glenn Efron today, who heads up the Gleaners. I'd like to share just a little bit about our canned food drive. We'll kick that off on November 7th, and we'll complete that on December 15th, and then on the 16th and 17th, all the deliveries will be made. And what's so critical about this is our very generous employees give during this period of time, but it really carries the Gleaners in their food supply from January until almost April, when they start their next campaigns with their oil partners. But when the times get very quiet and you're not around a holiday and there are folks who don't have food, this is really their outlet. When Supervisor Maggard talked about the 18,000 they serve, that is across Kern County in its entirety. They serve the little ones, they serve the families that are food insecure, but they also serve the elder. So it's really an activity that I'm very proud to be a part of. I'm very proud of all the contributions that our county makes. And yes, our goal this year is 70,000, and I think we can do it. And I challenge each board member to get in and rally the troops with the department heads, and let's see how big we can make this for our vulnerable population. And I'll turn this over to Glenn now.
Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Chairman, board members. My name is Glenn Efron. I'm with the Golden Empire Gleaners. We're very thankful to be here this morning. The Kern County Cares Food Drive is central to our efforts. It's perhaps one of our most robust food drives throughout the year. It does come at a very critical time. We kind of get through the holidays, and I always like to say that food never takes a holiday, or hunger never takes a holiday, because we get asked, well, what do you really need? Well, pretty much anything they can eat. And we rely on food drives such as this to kind of restock our shelves. We are 100% driven through donations, both in operating and in our food. And we thank Kern County Board and certainly all the departments for all the help we get every year. And we're looking forward to a very successful food drive. Thank you and good morning.
I just want to also share that that's with 2 full-time employees, and the rest are volunteers. They have teams of precious people who come out as volunteers, and your Doug Landon, former department head, drives for them out into East Kern to deliver foods. But he also puts together an annual golf event that yields us another $5,000 to $6,000. So hats off to your Kern County employees.
Absolutely. Thank you.
We'll leave that right there.
Okay. Ms. Murphy's going to continue to stand with me because we're now going to proclaim November 2017 as National Adoption Awareness Month in Kern County. Are others going to join us?
They are. They're on the way. Big family.
Good morning. How are you? Hi, guys. Hey, how are you, man? It's good to see you. Okay. Welcome, everyone. This is a fun one,
Yes.
but it also points out the significance of meeting a specific need. So on November 17, 2017, the Department of Human Services will collaborate with the Superior Court Juvenile and Family Law Division, the CARE Foundation, Aspiranet, CASA, ChildNet, Kern Bridges Youth Homes, Koinonia Family Services, and the Forgotten Initiative to celebrate adoption in Kern County. November is designated as National Adoption Awareness Month throughout the country, and we are joining in that effort here. Currently, there are over 2,000 children in Kern County in the foster care system living in out-of-home environments. Those children are there because they've either been neglected or abused, and they need to have a permanent home and to know that parents love them and support them and will affirm and encourage them. Many of these children live with relatives, but some of them do not. They live in group homes. They have other arrangements that are made. So Kern County commends adoptive parents. We can't thank you enough, adoptive parents, for what you do, for providing children with a lifetime of love, security, and permanence. And we applaud both the initiatives and all of the foster parents and the folks that join us in this effort for helping us do this. So on behalf of the Board of Supervisors, we proclaim November 2017 as National Adoption Awareness Month in Kern County. And Dina, I'd like to give you this. It's a proclamation specifying that November 7, 2017 is National Adoption Awareness Month, evidenced by the signature of our chairman, Zach Scrivener. So thank you for this effort. It's a wonderful thing. Adoption has been practiced in my wife's family. It is a way to change the lives of people, and I'm grateful for the effort.
Thank you.
Can you tell us a bit more about it?
Yes, a calling and a blessing, both. Thank you, Supervisor Maggard. Chairman Scrivener and members of the board, Supervisor Maggard has done such an awesome job of thanking and recognizing all the partners. I'd just like to continue by recognizing our social workers, and really our foster families are key. I'm joined today by Presiding Judge Louis Vega and Honorable Judge Marquez. I'm also joined by this precious family. And Sanders, if you would come up and get on television, snuggle around here a little closer so that when you go back to replay over and over again on your TV, you see all the kids, which I understand a couple may want to make comments today. I want to give a special shout out also to our program director, Vanessa Frando, our 2 assistant directors, Antoinette Reed and Jenny Krebs, who are in the crowd. And then David Nunlist, if I could have you stand. He's the social worker for the family, and David recognized the pearl, the blessing this little family was when the Sanders first thought about fostering. It was just that. They wanted to reach in and help out and foster a couple of children. And recognizing how special the family was, they right away were approached about taking a sibling group of 3, and they took all 3 and then decided they wanted to adopt, which they did. And when a 4th little sibling came along, they decided they wanted to keep all those children together. So on Friday at 1 o'clock at the Juvenile Justice Center, they will be adopting their 4th baby to round out their family now of 8 with 6 children. So you can just see what a life that these kids are going to have. And it's ever so special. We could not do this alone. So again, I want to recognize all the partners that Supervisor Maggard had just noted, and all the hard work that goes on in the background. But really, our heart goes out to the families who are willing to open their homes and create a forever family for these precious little children. I'm going to ask first that Judge Marquez make just a couple of comments, and then we're going to have Mr. Sanders with whichever children would like to say hello to you come up to the podium. So thank you so very much.
Well, good morning. Once again, I have the honor to address this esteemed board regarding National Adoption Day. And I want to thank Dina Murphy and all those who are under her direction at the Department of Human Services, social workers, and the organizations that were recognized earlier by Supervisor Maggard. There's also a cadre of attorneys that represent various parties involved in these proceedings, the parents, the children, and the department. And you expand on top of that, you have the providers that were mentioned earlier. So you can see that is truly a collaborative effort to promote families. And in these special occasions, when you have people like Rachel and Raymond Sanders who have opened their doors to an opportunity for these children, and now going to add one more to the family, which it's great. And our communities are as strong as our families, and the more we do to promote stable and loving homes, the better our community is going to benefit in the long term. So again, thank you very much for this opportunity. It is on November 17th that is the actual National Adoption Day, and that's when we will have our ceremonies. They will be at the Juvenile Justice Center, and they'll commence at 1 o'clock. And if you're available, we'd love to have you there. And it's always a festive event and enjoyed by everyone and all those who contributed to making that day a special day. So it's a day to recognize a lifetime of commitment. Again, thank you very much. And on behalf of the Kern County Superior Court Juvenile Justice Center, I have Judge Marquez, who's here with me this morning. We have Judge Brownlee, who will be making a special appearance with us. He's normally assigned to the trial courts, but he has his story of being adopted into a wonderful family that contributed to his success. And my own personal story is my younger brother, who's about 6'4", 230, is my adoptive brother as well. So we're a family, and it's always something that you never take for granted when you know the commitment that's required. And again, thank you to the Sanders for their generosity and their commitment. And you can see they have a wonderful family here. So again, thank you very much.
Thank you, Judge Vega. If we could have the Sanders speak, and just so you know, they're one of 40 families who are going through the adoptive process on the 17th.
Do you want to speak? Hello, my name is Ray Sanders. This is my lovely family. A quick background as far as our story goes. We initially wanted to adopt 2. We had 2 biological children. We initially wanted to adopt 2. We had a certain criteria as far as that we were hoping for. And then over the course of time, it just kind of didn't work. And so one day I was on my way out of town. I was literally walking out the door when my wife got a call about 3 kids. So when we only wanted to adopt 2. Really, 3 was a potential thing along the way, but it was really just about adopting 2. Within that, we kind of discussed it. It fit like all these various criterias, kind of comically, but sincerely. We wanted children that were going to kind of maybe blend with our family a little bit, similar color hair, different concepts like that. So on paper, some of that kind of fit. And so we said yes. So, but I'm on my way out of town into Seattle. So this was on a Friday, and Rachel picked up the kids on a Monday. And then by Tuesday night, she was already calling me and kind of overwhelmed. And my wife's a great mom, and so I was kind of taken back by it. And I was like, how, like truly, and this is how ignorant I was, how hard could it really be? So I came home the next day, and by Thursday, Friday, I felt very similar. She's sending me pictures. They're obviously not brown hair, brown eyes. So, but over the course of time, one of the things that I came to learn within all of this was, again, within my ignorance, is that prior to us doing any of the courses, any of the classes, anything, you kind of get this image as though you're going to come in and rescue these families, you're going to save these kids that were neglected or whatnot. And the reality is that their normal human need and desire for a mom and dad, when they're neglected or abused or whatever the circumstances are that put them in that situation, even though they're in those situations, they still have that bond with their biological family, which is hard for us to maybe understand as adults. So when we came in and we thought that we were going to be like these heroes, that was certainly a challenge for us and some of those types of realities. And as time has obviously gone on, our family has bonded and we've become much stronger in the sense of being a true family. But I really didn't recognize the rewards that we were going to be able to have with Rachel and I and our 2 biological children. We've really been the ones that have been blessed within all of this. We certainly can acknowledge the way that we have positively derailed their lives and impacted their lives, but now I feel that we are truly a family in every sense of the word. And so to conclude the story, when we had the 3 and then obviously our 2 biological, and we were very overwhelmed. There was a lot of resistance, a lot of hard times, but then it got to a point where we found a rhythm. When we found out that there was a potential 4th, we were like, there's no way. It's a sad deal. But as we became closer and closer as a family, even with Jonah, now the baby, who's not officially adopted yet until the 17th, we already felt a bond there, and we couldn't imagine him not being a part of our family because it was as though he already was. So we definitely feel honored and grateful for everything within this, within what the city does, all the social workers, judges, everybody that's involved, because it's not just something that is just done on paper. It's something that's actually impacting people's lives, and we're kind of the reflection of that. So. So my daughter Reagan, I believe, wants to say something.
Hi, I'm Reagan, and I'm really happy that we adopted. And it's really great because I'm so happy that I have a bigger family, and it's just so sweet. And I wanted a sister for a while, and I finally got one, and I'm so happy. I got 2 and more brothers, and I'm so happy to be adopting Jonah on the 17th, and it just brings me so much joy, and more than anything, I want them to be happy with us forever, and I'm really glad to be with my sister Sophie at night, and she's asking me all these questions like, will you tell me a story? And I'll be happy to. And I'm glad to hang out with Abby and hear the funny things that she says to me. And I'm glad to take care of Jonah, feed him his bottle, or do anything else. and I'm really happy for our big family. Thank you.
Oh, out of the mouth of babes, precious, just precious. You can see how close the bond is and how happy and blessed the family is, but it's such a special day. Thank you so very much for your recognition. We appreciate that, and it's so important to highlight so that other families know that they too may be able to open their homes and extend their love forever to another child to grow their family. Thank you, and thank you to the Sanders.
That's fantastic. Thank you. Okay, Supervisor Gleason is going to present the next two proclamations. First is item 7. This is to proclaim November 7th through the 13th, 2017 as Veterans Appreciation Week in Kern County. And item 8 is to proclaim November 7th through the 13th, 2017 as Marine Corps Week in Kern County. And Supervisor Gleason, we need a motion, please.
Motion on both proclamations.
Second.
Please cast your votes.
The motion is approved. 4 ayes, 1 absent. Supervisor Perez.
So, who wants to speak first and follow along?
I want to thank him.
Thank you very much. Tough act to follow. That was such a wonderful thing to see. That's what Kern County is all about. 11th hour, 11th day, 11th month, 1918 was a truly was Armistice Day, the day we decided to, we won the war. And it was a ceasefire agreement with Germany. It brought World War I to a close. Between World War I and World War II, that day then became Armistice Day, and we honored Armistice Day, our veterans, by celebrating their achievements, celebrating their determination, celebrating their goodness for many years. After World War II, 1954, we began designated November 11th as Veterans Day. Veterans Day is a great day. We pay tribute to those who have honored us with their service and their sacrifice. Many Kern County residents paid the ultimate price for freedom. In death, they renewed and sustained the freedom and promise to our nation. As Americans, we have benefited from the sacrifice made by the veterans in defending this country. We owe a debt of gratitude to our veterans. It still continues today. Their legacy endures and will endure as long as our country endures. It is important that we honor our veterans to continue to serve our country because the cause of freedom by exemplifying the patriotism and love of country to preserve our freedom that has become the fabric of our society. It's an honor to share this podium today with several veterans, even though they're Marines. But the Board of Supervisors of the County of Kern, State of California, has officially proclaimed November 7th to the 13th, 2017 as Veterans Appreciation Week in Kern County, signed by Honorable Zach Scrivener. I'll pass it off to Dick, a Marine. Nonetheless, we'll give him a chance to excel.
So having you said that, boss, thank you, Supervisor Gleason and fellow honorable board members. Dick Taylor, your County Veteran Service Officer. So some of you don't know that the Navy does an incredible job, and of course,
I could hear it coming. Just say it. Get it.
Well, there's several things, but I'll just cut to the chase on this one. So the Navy is kind of like Uber for Marines.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
So it's an. I'm going to pay for that one. But I'm honored today to have with us Josh Danens, an Army veteran, served in Iraq. He's our Veteran Service Manager from the County Veteran Service Department. Ishmael Gonzalez, also, I know him as a friend, goes by Smiley. And he was he's a Vietnam veteran. He was one of my upperclassmen, way much older than me, that went on ahead when I was in high school, and they went off to war. Bill Stevens served us honorably also in the Army during World War II, and he's one of my neighbors. And he keeps an eye out for make sure my lawn's exactly like it's supposed to be. And then Rob Sibley is a retired Army major, and Rob is as a county employee as well. And so, also, before I go any further, I am remiss in doing this. In our audience, can I get anybody that's a veteran to please stand? I want to thank them for their service. And I'll probably forget some of them. We have Judge Vega, Army veteran, and I have Donnie Youngblood and an assistant or undersheriff Brian Wheeler, both Army, Vietnam. And then also we have Perry Finzel with Congressman Valadeo's office as a Marine Corps veteran, part of the Wounded Warriors Fellow Program, right? Perry, stand up, buddy. Okay. So, and then I noticed a lady here, a lady veteran. I want to thank her for her service. And that's something that we're working on doing a better job of in our county and in our community and our country, and that's recognizing the honorable and committed service of our women veterans as well, because and a lot of them don't view themselves as veterans, but they still raised their right hand and went off and served honorably, and we're very grateful for the service and for the honor that every one of these people bring to our community. So, Bill, did you want to say a few words? Okay.
I'm a World War II vet with the 1st Cavalry Division in the South Pacific. We really appreciate what Dick does for the veterans of Kern County. He does an excellent job. And I spent 40 years with Kern County in law enforcement, and I enjoyed that too. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I'll conclude with this. We have thousands of veterans that serve us in this community. Many are county employees, or they work for the police department or the city or the highway patrol, and some of them serve in honorable positions as judges, as we can see, other positions, even attorneys. But it's just a phenomenal community. We have Kern County is home to 47,000 veterans, and your board in this county, it's not just lip service when you support your veterans. We're very grateful for all the support you give our veterans, and we know it because I have counterparts in other counties that their veterans don't get that kind of support, and so we're very grateful to live in a community where the gratitude is shown. So, real quick before we wrap it up, Veterans Day Parade Saturday this year, November 11th, starts up. It's run as it always has been by our American Legion Post 26, started in, I think, 1919. No, I wasn't in the Marine Corps then. And it'll proceed through downtown, and since it's not a work day, many of us can attend that day. So we encourage you to come to that. If you're a veteran, you can go to the American Legion for breakfast at 2028th Street at 6 a.m. Veterans eat for free, and everybody else for $5. Anything else we want to say, Smiley?
On behalf of all veterans, I want to thank the Board of Supervisors for what you all do for us, and Dick Taylor also. But how can you, the adoption, that was really something. How can you follow that? But we want to thank you very much. That was real touching. Thank you.
Okay. And so people like Smiley, and he'd be mortified that I'm even mentioning this, but not only did he serve as a combat medic in Vietnam, but he continues to serve our community and has for many, many years as part of the Associated Veterans and Kern County Honor Guard that helps our fellow veterans in their final honors, military honors when they're laid to rest. And he literally has done thousands of memorial services for our veterans, and we're grateful for him and the entire group of the Associated Veterans of Kern County. And it's a lot of people, they don't know he does it, and he doesn't do it for the accolades. He just does it because he wants to pay tribute to the families and to the veterans. Thank you.
Uber. Never heard anything so ridiculous in my life. Can I get some Marines up here? Real Marines up here. Outstanding. We're honored to have a major and a staff sergeant. Yes, sir. Thank you very much for being here to proclaim the week of November 7th to the 13th as Marine Corps Week in Kern County. It's a pleasure to be here. Marine Corps Week is an opportunity to educate our community on the importance of the Marine Corps service, to help them understand the investment they make in their Marine Corps, and to increase awareness in areas of our county who might not otherwise see the Marine Corps at work on a regular basis. Our Marine Corps is vital to the national security of our country. I guess that's the understatement of the year, and is an important element in protecting American citizens and interests overseas. It's an honor to be here. It's an honor to stand tall with Marines. Anytime I get a chance to be with a Marine, I'll jump at it. Not only do they wear the greatest uniforms in our armed services, but they're you hear oftentimes the leading, the cutting edge, the people who are going to go in and knock on the doors and break down walls and do what needs to be done. The Marines are the ones that do it, and they do it with such honor and grace, and they can do that in the morning. They can fire their rifle in the morning, and they can lift a shovel in the afternoon to deliver some goods to somebody in the afternoon, and how they do that and manage that is only through the discipline and training of the greatest organization that has ever graced our planet. Every member of the Marine Corps is dedicated to one thing: supporting their infantry. That's what they do, from the 4-star commandant to the staff sergeant here. Anybody in between, they're focused on supporting their infantrymen and advancing the cause of our national security. So it's a pleasure to be here. The Marines are always welcome in Kern County. We love having you. Thank you very much for being here, Major. Appreciate it. Ooh, wow.
Absolutely, sir.
Go for it.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you. So, Mr. Chairman, board members, Ms. Kathleen, thank you again for this opportunity and for the honor of being able to recognize the Marine Corps as a service in this type of fashion, especially in Kern County. I was speaking earlier that I own 5 counties as recruiting station Los Angeles, and Kern County has produced a little over 200 Marines this past fiscal year. And of the 200 that we've sent out, again, many of them have stayed in to continue their service, and we appreciate everything that they've done and continue to do. Marine Corps Recruiting Command has 3 missions. We make Marines, we win our nation's battles, and we return quality citizens. So it is a distinct pleasure to be able to do that with Kern County, and it's this sense of community that we have here today with everything that the board member has on their plate in recognizing today. So we appreciate our military service and the Marine Corps specifically be part of that community, and we continue to hope to entertain that relationship for years to come. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Major.
Thank you, Major Donis and Supervisor Gleason and board members. Dick Taylor, your County Veteran Service Officer, and I'm very fortunate to have a close relationship with our Marine Corps Recruiting Command, probably because I am one, and I'm partial to that. But there's countless things that go on behind the scenes that the Marine Corps does to support this county. Almost always, whenever I ask either Major or Staff Sergeant Rodriguez if we need something, they're there to help. And I don't know if any of you heard, but out at the Hart Park After Dark event that we had recently, very successful. So Staff Sergeant Rodriguez sent 2 of his Marine Corps recruiters out there, because at my request, but he sent 2 of them out there to man the pull-up bar. And it's a Marine Corps regulation pull-up bar, and some people were kind of looking at us like, what are you going to do with that out there? We had a line of people, and Andy can attest to that. We had a line of people, not only that, but we also were doing camouflage face paint for kids and adults. And it was pretty wicked, and the recruiters got into it. And so, when they got to do a regulation pull-up all the way up, all the way down, sometimes it's not as easy to do 20 as you thought you were. You weren't as maybe hot as you thought you were. And so some kids are like, oh, yeah, I can crank out 20, and they get up and they get like 2. It's like, okay, no, all the way up and all the way down, not just stop like this. They got like 5 doing it that way. But also this Friday, November 10th, is the actual birthday of the Marine Corps, 242 years. And your County Veteran Service Office, as we do every year, we are hosting a SOS breakfast. And I just... explain to Ms. Pearson this morning what SOS was, because she didn't know. And if you don't know what SOS breakfast is, just ask somebody around you. They'll be able to tell you. Donnie, I'm sure will know. But it's basically gravy on toast. It's a Marine Corps staple, military staple that goes way back. But we're going to be serving breakfast free to the public and free to all veterans, starting at 8 o'clock to about 9:45. Then at 10 o'clock we have our ceremony recognizing the birthday of the Marine Corps, and we'll have our Marine Corps color guard there. The Kern County Fire Department will have their big garrison flag there, and we'll have colors from all the Marine Corps divisions there. And we also have bagpipes coming from Highland High School. Their group at the high school will be coming, and they do a phenomenal job of that. And we'll have the classic cutting of the cake, the Marine Corps birthday cake, and the first piece is served to the oldest Marine present. I think we've got a World War II vet that's going to be there, and then he, in turn, hands the cake ceremonially to the youngest Marine present, who I think is one of our devil pups that just graduated from Marine Corps boot camp about 2 weeks ago. So if you're available, there's some SOS for all of you on the house until while supplies last. We know there'll be a big rush over there probably, so I wouldn't wait around too long. But anyway, we're again very grateful for your board's support of events like this, and we're grateful for the community that supports it. And we invite the community to come out to that Marine Corps birthday that's this Friday, November 10th at 10 a.m. at the Kern County Veterans Service Department at 1120 Golden State Avenue. Again, thank you to Major Dones and Stefan Rodriguez for their exemplary service and support of our department and in this community.
Next item, excuse me, the next item on our agenda is public presentations. This portion of the meeting is reserved for persons to address the board on any matter not on this agenda but under the jurisdiction of the board. Board members may respond briefly to statements made or questions posed. They may ask a question for clarification, make a referral to staff for factual information, or request staff to report back to the board at a later meeting. Are there any members of the public that would like to make a public presentation? Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, and also Board of Retiree Trustee Couch. My name is Dominic Brown, and I was recently appointed by the Board of Trustees of KSERA, or the Kern County Employees Retirement Association, to serve as Acting Executive Director. As the Director of KSERA, it is my responsibility to ensure the timely and accurate delivery of benefits that were negotiated and agreed upon by the various employee groups that represent our members and management, including your board. I'm here this morning to express my commitment to serve our members, while at the same time giving strong consideration to how County and KSERA are mutually impacted by factors such as the economy and shifting demographics. The County and KSERA are legally bound together, and we must work together to solve the challenges before us. I first came to the County as the Audit Division Chief in the Auditor Controller's Office nearly 10 years ago. I have fond memories of presenting many audit reports right here in these board chambers. I worked in audit for 5 years, and then in general accounting and payroll for almost 3 years. During that time, I was elected to serve as the general membership as a board member of KSERA. During my term, I served chairman of the Finance Committee, as well as vice chairman and chairman of the board. I was hired as assistant executive director of KSERA last year, and it has been my pleasure to serve our 17,000 members across the 15 plan sponsors that participate in KSERA. Our office has recently had several meetings with the CAO's office, County Human Resources, and labor groups to discuss the challenges and opportunities facing the county and the pension plan. I look forward to working together in the future and appreciate the opportunity to serve our members. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Supervisor Couch.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for being here. And as I told you, I think I'm cautiously and hopefully optimistic that the relationship between KSERA and the county, which at times can be strained, can be strengthened and improved. And I appreciate your help in that regard.
Thank you. The feeling is mutual. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any other speakers, public presentations? Okay, seeing none, move on to board member announcements or reports. Supervisor Maggard.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to make a referral this morning to our staff to request for staff to respond to the board with the following. The placement of a report looking at the feasibility and how we might implement the following. The placement of as few as one and no more than a few tightly regulated medicinal marijuana dispensaries, sequestered in industrial areas only, with the specific direction to make every effort to see if we can make the dispensary or dispensaries not opened as walk-up storefront locations, but rather to provide for mobile delivery only of medicinal marijuana to legitimate patients with bona fide medicinal needs, so that as to minimize the attraction of marijuana related industries to those industrial areas. There's 4 points to this. The second one is development of sufficient fees as allowed necessary to be assessed so as to mitigate all related costs of monitoring, regulation, and suppression of illegitimate dispensaries. The third one is request assistance from the state and federal authorities in helping to develop a legitimate process to regulate the issuance of medical marijuana recommendations. And lastly, develop a requirement for the scanning of photo ID with every purchase. So I would request that the referral be made to staff, and that staff would return to us as soon as is practical, but sooner than later, with your recommendation to help us figure out is that something that we can do, and then present it to the board. The entire, well, yeah, I guess the entire board, certainly the 4 that voted to ban marijuana dispensaries a few weeks ago, expressed an interest in providing some form of medicinal marijuana to those who are in need of it. So that's my referral to staff. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Is that a motion?
Yeah, that is a motion, yes.
Thank you.
Second.
Please cast your votes.
The motion is approved, 4 ayes, 1 absent. Supervisor Perez.
Thank you. Supervisor Gleason.
Quick shout out to our greatest fire department in the world for saving McFarland. Did a great job over the weekend with a possible catastrophic fire that was subdued quickly thanks to the fire department.
Thank you. The next item on our agenda is item number 33. This is an item under the Kern County Libraries. This is a report on Hart Park After Dark event success, highlighting the importance of the county parks, libraries, and county departments. And we have Andy Apple with us, the director of our libraries. Good morning.
Good morning. So today, I figured this would be a good time to give proper credit to all the county departments that participated, the board that has supported us, and the community that came out. So we do have a video, a little 2-minute video that highlights all the fun and community building that took place. And then Jasmine Labasso, who is really the true coordinator of this event, will speak a little to the event. So go ahead and cue the video.
So several months ago, Andy saw San Diego's Park After Dark event and had a big idea. She said to me, let's do this at Hart Park and let's do it even bigger. She emailed Mr. Alsop and some of his staff to see if there was any interest in this idea and if we could get support at the library from the CAO office and General Services Parks Division. There was interest, obviously. Amanda Reese in the CAO office was excited about the event idea, as well as General Services staff. Amanda, Andy, and I sat down, we picked a date, and we went for it. Hart Park After Dark would take place on Saturday, October 21st, a mere 2.5 months away from the initial meeting. We were on a strict timeline, and we had no idea what to expect and knew that this event would take massive collaboration between departments. But the library, parks, and CAO were dedicated to highlighting our community's parks as well as the library's outreach services, and believe that bringing together multiple departments under one project, we could demonstrate what's possible when departments pool their resources together. We were able to obtain the participation from Veterans Services, Department of Human Services, HR, Animal Services, and the Fire Department for family fun booths. The CAO's office secured donations that were critical to funding the event's logistics, including lighting and washing stations. We secured a major donation from Coca-Cola, 70 cases, which is equal to 1,600 individual drinks. Over 20 volunteers from county departments enthusiastically donated their time to make the event possible. The Roads Department helped us with safety logistics, including signage. Several community organizations and individuals also volunteered their times and services, including Roaming Reptiles, the magician Christopher Lopez, Omnipresent Puppet Theater, Bike Bakersfield, the Kern Astronomical Society, the DJ Phantom Stranger, the band Heavy Vinyl, and Beyond Martial Arts. The impact of the Hart Park After Dark event was massive. The estimated attendance was around 2,000. And it doesn't stop there. We also reached over 130,000 people organically through Instagram, Facebook, and Snapchat. Organically usually means that it's not paid for, just to point out. Hundreds of people signed up for library cards, learned about spay and neuter options, got their faces painted, played cornhole, participated in the costume contest, listened to scary stories, and learned about the wide array of services the county offers through our various departments. 3 media outlets showcased the event and actually did live shots from the event itself. The feedback from the community has been overwhelmingly positive. Kern County residents love the event and would like to see more county-sponsored free programming events. We keep hearing the same refrain: when's the next one?
And there probably will be a next one, so thank you.
Fantastic. Before I go to Supervisor Gleason, are there any members of the audience that would like to make any comment? Okay, Supervisor Gleason. The requested action is to receive and file.
I'll make that motion and thank the library. Andy, great job, and your whole team. Outstanding to see what we can do when we all get together. Great job.
Second.
Please cast your votes.
The motion is approved. 4 ayes, 1 absent. Supervisor Perez.
Thank you. The next item on our agenda is item number 40. Item 40 is under Public Health Services, and this is a presentation on awareness efforts of valley fever in Kern County. We have Matt Constantine with us, the Director of our Public Health Department. Mr. Constantine, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. This item before you is just to provide a brief update on our efforts to increase awareness of valley fever in Kern County. As you will recall, in April, we held a press conference in which we released our 2016 valley fever surveillance data. In 2016, there were more than 2,300 new cases of valley fever in Kern County, which is compared to about 1,100 cases in 2015, which translates into more than a 62% increase in the rate of infection. In response to this increasing threat, over the last 10 months, we've been busy. We've launched our first ever Valley Fever billboard campaign. Our department and the Valley Fever Americas Foundation presented to the Kern County Medical Society. We sent out a health alert to all of our Kern County physicians about valley fever. We strengthened our relationship with the Valley Fever Americas Foundation. We're meeting monthly and coordinating activities. In July, we sent out a second public health bulletin to all hospitals and physicians. We continue to maintain and keep up to date the Valley Fever webpage, which is the only disease that actually has a dedicated website to it. We provided presentations and coordinated with ERA, Children's Hospital, the state of Arizona, the county of Monterey. And then in August, we started a new approach to detection, which is the Valley Fever skin test. And beginning this week, we have launched our first public service announcements on Valley Fever, which promotes awareness of the disease and the availability of the new skin test. And our own sheriff, Donnie Youngblood, who himself has been impacted by this disease, had agreed to assist in this endeavor. And we are honored to have Donnie's support and encouragement. And with the board's indulgence, I would like to play 2 PSAs that will run starting this week. The first one is a general PSA. The second one promotes the skin test.
I was familiar with valley fever and knew that it was a disease that someone could get by breathing in spores from our soil, but it wasn't until impacted my family members that I realized how serious it can be. While many people who contract valley fever will not get symptoms, about 40% will get symptoms like fever, cough, tiredness, and a rash. Early detection is key. If you've had a cough, fever, or painful breathing for more than 2 weeks, ask your doctor to test you. Learn more about valley fever. Do it for yourself, do it for your family. I was familiar with valley fever, but it wasn't until it impacted my family members that I realized how serious it can be. When I learned that Kern County Public Health recently started offering valley fever skin tests, I decided to get tested. I wanted to know if I'd ever been exposed, because if I had, that would reduce my chance of getting valley fever in the future. If you've had a cough, fever, or painful breathing for more than 2 weeks, ask your doctor to test you. Learn more about valley fever. Awareness and early detection is so important.
Now, we are remaining somewhat concerned. We do not have our confirmed data for 2017 yet, obviously, as the year is not completed. But our preliminary data for 2017 indicates that we may likely see a significant rise in the number of cases yet again in 2017. In addition, the data that we obtained from our own lab, we averaged 1,400 valley fever blood tests per month in 2016. Year to date, we're averaging more than 2,000 valley fever tests that we're doing now. So the testing is up. And Mr. Chairman, my final comment is I'd like to acknowledge Sandra Larson and Rob Purdy, who are in the audience. They are a big component of our efforts, and I appreciate their involvement. Mr. Chairman, that concludes my comments.
Thank you very much, Mr. Constantine. Are there any members of the audience who would like to make any comment on this item? Okay, seeing none, I'll return to the board.
I didn't know the sheriff could putt like that. Is this requiring a motion?
Yes, this is a, oh, no, I'm sorry, it's just here a presentation.
Thanks.
Any other comments?
Everybody involved. How many takes did it take to make that putt, Sheriff?
Just one.
Oh, okay.
Thank you, Sheriff. I appreciate your participation in that. Mr. Constantine, excellent job to you and your department. And, excuse me, Madam Clerk, did you? Okay, thank you. All right, next item on our agenda is an item under the Sheriff's Department. This is item number 42. This is a request to accept grant from United States Department of Justice and proposed retroactive agreement with the United States Department of Justice for the Sheriff's Office body-worn camera project from October 1st, 2017 through September 30th, 2019, and request for appropriation of anticipated revenue in the amount of $135,000. Sheriff, good morning.
Good morning. And I think it's become blatantly obvious that I've never met a camera that I didn't like. We're talking again about cameras. Throughout our nation in the last 3 or 4 years, body-worn cameras have become a really topic of conversation for transparency, and we have endeavored to go down that path, but it's expensive. The storage of the data is very expensive. But my staff got involved in applying for a competitive grant that would outfit all the patrolmen in Metro Bakersfield with body-worn cameras. It would equip the sergeants, the senior deputies, and the deputies with the body-worn cameras. The total cost of that project was $270,000, and my staff was able to obtain $135,000 with a match of $135,000. The match came from AB 109 funds, not general fund dollars. So we will kick that off and in the very near future with equipping those officers with body-worn cameras, and we know that it's going to be successful. Body-worn cameras were implemented in Wasco on March 20th, 2015. Use of force incidents significantly reduced from 50 to 2014 to 14 so far this year. The Wasco sergeant said reviewing footage allows him to award positive behavior, identified training issues, and correct some substandard performance. Several of the complaints have been resolved by viewing the video with the complainant or simply offering them that opportunity when they saw it, the complaint went away. In Central Receiving Facility, fixed cameras were installed in 2011 and 2012. Body-worn cameras were deployed in 2015. Use of force investigations reduced from a high of 11 in 2013 to only 1 so far in 2017. Lerdo pretrial cameras were installed in 2012 and 2013. Internal affairs investigations reduced from 43 in 2013 to 5 so far this year. The Internal Affairs Sergeant's comments, in my 4 years of Internal Affairs experience, I have seen body-worn cameras and fixed cameras play a vital role in Internal Affairs investigations. The existence of video streamlines the investigative process by either immediately corroborating or refuting allegations against employees. Additionally, supervisors have discovered issues that would not have come to light without the video. In the past, these same internal affairs investigations would often take 6 months to complete. What we're saying is less complaints equals less lawsuits, equals less loss of money to our general fund dollars, and more transparency. To quote a very smart man one time in executive session, he said, "This isn't sustainable," and that rung true with me. And I knew when I left there, Supervisor Gleason, I had to find a way with vehicle accidents and with use of force to minimize those incidents. And I think we've been very successful at doing that, and we're continuing down that path. And so with that, I'd be happy to answer any of your questions.
It's fantastic, Sheriff. Any members of the audience would like to make any comment? Okay, seeing none, I'll return to the board. Do we have anybody who wants to make any comment? The requested action is to approve and authorize the chairman to sign.
Motion on staff's recommendation.
Second.
Please cast your votes.
The motion is approved, 4 ayes, 1 absent. Supervisor Perez.
Sheriff, thank you so much. Well done. This is a great thing for the community and for your department. That brings us to the conclusion of our agenda for this morning. We do have several items to consider in closed session. We have items 44 and 45 under the County Administrative Office, as well as 46, 47, and 48 under County Council. And so at this time, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn to closed session.
So moved.
We are adjourned.